Hey guys, Jay, welcome back to the channel. So guys, tonight we have a very special episode. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. And of course, I couldn't do this without my good friend, Jorge from Thundercats Classics. Jorge, how's it going, brother? How you doing tonight?
What's up, man? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, brother. Oh my God, I'm so excited about tonight. Tonight is one of those rare moments where we get to really dig deep and find out a little bit more about the inner workings of things that happen behind the scenes for Thundercats. Oh my gosh, I didn't think that this would happen, especially in the format it's happening in. I'm very, very excited. At the same time, a lot of things happening in the Thundercats world. Really quickly, how are things today? Like how everything good? You doing all right?
Everything's good, man. Just it's been really busy at work, but I was just waiting to fast forward through the day and just get to this because this is really exciting.
All right, so let's talk about the main topic for today, because as you know, Jorge, Thundercats is at Mondo, man. Oh my God, this is absolutely just bonkers. And I think you and I have been dreaming about this, and we can't do this without bringing in some very special guests to actually talk about this whole thing. Let's go ahead and bring them in, Jorge. So we have Attack Peter and Hector Arce. Oh my God, it's amazing having you guys here. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
You're not worthy.
Hey, can we bring that thumbnell back up?
Oh my God, that photo
that picture of Hector looks like someone stepped on his foot right before the camera went off.
Really?
Look at him.
So funny. Peter has this beautiful, like high-res little photo, and mine's like looks like it was taken like with a cell phone cam from like 20 years ago.
Oh crap!
No, I just like the look of like, God, like somebody just stepped.
So funny.
Anyway, let's go.
I love it. It's I don't even know where that picture came from.
I love it.
Google. I love Google.
Google, yeah, it's probably floating around from like some weird.
Anyway, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, you need a publicist, and you need to send send out the photos properly. we were having trouble finding good photos, and we're like, all right,
called out.
We can. I just need a better headshot like Peter.
I told him if he takes a picture, I could do the whole sprucing up that I do on the photo. Like Gabby and I, my wife and I figured out how to do that for ourselves. And so like if you just this is photo talk with Mega J and Jorge, so skip.
It's all good. You know what? You guys are you guys are the artists. You guys are doing this, and of course, packaging design, everything. You know, we're gonna get into all of that, of course. But like I said, you can't do anything without the proper base. So, having said that, Jorge, why don't you start us off? Because for me, I'm really excited about this. I mean, I never thought. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Master Universe that Mondo has been doing for so many years. It feels like almost a decade, but it hasn't actually been that long. But at the same time, it's getting close, right? It's getting pretty close.
Very close.
But for a product like this, something which is near to dear to my heart, because as a lot of people know, number one for me is Master Universe, and number two, and it's not that far away, is Thundercats. So I'm gonna let Jorge take the first couple questions, because obviously.
Wait, Jorge, are you reversed? Do you say Thundercats 1 and Mo 2 close second?
No, hell no.
Thundercats. Oh really? Mo 2 still first?
No, Thundercats.
Thundercats is first. That's what I'm saying. So he's number 1, and then Mo 2 right under that. Yeah. You know, Jay, do you know how I know Jorge? And by the way, I call him JP. So this whole new thing with Jorge, I don't know how to. But anyway, do you know how we met?
No. How did you guys meet?
We used to, when the 4 Horsemen line of He-Man figures was coming out, the Masters figures were coming out. We, everybody in Miami was like a kind of like a close knit nerd community. It wasn't like that much. It was like everybody would hang out at the comic shops or whatever. But he and I would bump into each other at like our comic shop or our Target or whatever, like trying to find the same. Remember, dude? Yeah. And I remember back then you blew my mind because you had cut, and I think I'm right about this. You were customizing them back then. Yeah, and it was like and somebody had customized a He-Man into a Lion-O or whatever from that. But anyway, we were back then like just collecting and hunting figures together, and it was just so funny that all these years later we're back in the same circle again. So just a little context, funny enough.
World.
That is amazing.
He's the Mr. 305 of toys. I don't know if you know that, Jay. Just so you know.
I know that now. That's awesome. So, Jorge, take it away. George, take it away.
So man, look,
JP, take it away.
JP, let's leave it with JP. This is super cool because a couple of days earlier, I was rewatching a video that I actually recorded with Hector. I want to say it was probably 2021. You remember that, Hector? We spoke, and I was like, I had a green screen behind me, and the thing collapsed in the middle of the recording. And you're like, what the hell's happening?
I remember this.
So I was watching that. My wife almost pissed herself watching that. That's great. And it was funny because one of the things that I brought up in that interview was I asked Hector about the possibility of doing the wonderful stuff they're doing with Motu with Thundercats. And here we are, full circle, 2024, August 21st, and it's actually happening. We have Lion-O, and we have what I'll coin the phrase, pimp my Lion-O version of Lion-O, because this is like the epitome of Lion-O collectibles, right? I mean, you got all the bells and whistles. We surpassed other companies and things that have been included with a figure, and it just couldn't be a better time to be a Thundercats fan. Just the fact that the IP is getting so much more love, other than just, Super 7, which has been doing a great thing with the 6-inch line, but to now have these amazing 3-dimensional interpretations in 12-inch scale, it's just amazing. It's bonkers. And this Lion-O, I mean, just wow. The whole team crushed it. Super excited to get this in my hands. So yeah, it's just an amazing time to be a Thundercats fan. And I wanted to ask, in terms of the line itself, we just started, I know, but how far down the rabbit hole do you plan to go with Thundercats? And are there any plans to expand the license into other Mondo lines, like perhaps soft vinyl or even 112?
Yeah. So I totally forgot about that. We did that interview, man. That's wild.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's funny. And then it's so funny because I forgot that we did that interview, and then when we met, again through Peter and all this stuff, I completely forgotten about that. So I apologize there.
Yeah, it's cool.
But no. Yeah, back then we were trying to get it right. Like we always wanted to do Thundercats. It seemed like a natural progression from what we were doing with Motu. So yeah, I'm so stoked that we finally got to do it, and we had to keep it a secret for so long because it Lion-O was in development for almost like a good, we started it like last year sometime, Peter, right? Like you had just you were like
I was here just recently, and the conversation was starting about it.
Right. So it's been a minute, right? And I'm stoked that we were able to do so much with it, right? I mean, it for me, it was definitely trying to emulate a bit of what we've done with Motu, and in terms of just kind of adding our own little spin to it, while also trying to stay true, right, to a lot of the nods to the show, and so forth. In terms of the line depth, like I hope we can go as far as we can, like as you've seen with Motu and now X-Men and Batman, right? Like it took a little while at first, right, to pick up steam, because this is how naturally those things go. You have to definitely get through the heavy hitter characters, right? But I'm hoping that this is that type of line where we're going to be getting into some of the more fan favorites like down the road.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and in general, to piggyback off what he said, it's all down to the audience. If we make something that everybody thinks is cool, and the fans turn up for it, that feeds itself, and that just keeps going. If it's like everybody says it now, it's like a cliche, but vote with your dollar. If you want to see this continue, you gotta support it, and you gotta spread the word to your other friends who are also collectors. If you get one and you're the only one in your friend circle that's got one and everybody else is on the fence, invite them over and show them how badass it is. It's like that with anything. And as somebody who's collected many lines that had ended early, RIP Mezco Hellboy, line, right? I remember and I'm not suggesting anybody do this, but I remember buying multiple waves of that line, just hoping that I would never see one on a peg and leave it there. I just wanted it to continue. But we'll do better than that, I think. And if people support it the way they've supported the other lines, I think we'll be going down the roster.
Absolutely, that's awesome.
I noticed you dodged his other questions, Hector. Very political.
What questions?
About soft vinyl and 112.
Oh, wow. Why'd you bring it back up?
No pressure, Hector. No pressure.
I eloquently dodged it.
I know, it was really good, dude. It was really good. That counts as a dodge, JP. They gotta let it go now.
No. I think it's just when you're getting these sort of categories and stuff like that. 1/6 was the most obvious route to go, and something that was just a void in Thundercats in general, right? Like there's some amazing statues that have been done by Tweeterhead, Sideshow, Iron Studios now playing in that space, right? Doing some cool stuff. And so there's been some high-end collectibles out there, but there's never been a 1/6. And when people think 1/6, there's always this notion that it has to be like Hot Toys is the standard, right? Like there's this level of like has to look like this. So I think for us, when we do like the more animated style stuff, right, with like X-Men and Batman, it tends to look a certain way. But with MOTU, we've elevated to where there's like it's this nice in between. It's like fantasy and fun and still homage to like the comics, the show, the toy line. But still a little bit of a like upscale, up res, right? And so that's what we wanted with Thundercats, right? And it was that void, so it was like an obvious route rather than going soft vinyl or 1/12, obviously, being handled by other licensors as well. So,
Jay,
there, better.
Yeah, no. The level of accountability is amazing.
I'm not letting him off the hook, you guys. Don't worry.
Jesus,
really on point. Awesome, awesome. So I wanted to ask really quickly. As early as the concept sketches, fans have been wondering about the design for Lion-O, and the fact that you guys made the decision to go with a more realistic, animalistic type of fur. Because
controversial.
Of that, you know what? I'm not so sure it's controversial. I think it's just one of those things where the fans, a lot of them are on board 100%, but a lot of them are kind of like, he doesn't look what I expected him to be. So I guess the real question that a lot of fans have is, do you think there's a possibility that in the future sometime we might be able to get more of a cartoon traditional Lion-O, a little bit more smooth, a little bit more less hairy, I guess, if that's okay.
Yes. I mean, I think what similar to what we've done with MOTU, right, where we've explored like more classic takes of the character as well, right? Like I think with Lion-O we can definitely explore that route as well. Like there's no reason not to. It's just a matter of like this was kind of like our first one out the gate, right? Like we this is our statement, right? This is our like Mondo's Lion-O, right, kind of thing. So from there, I mean, I've always loved like just going back and having more classic looks and stuff like that. So I don't think it's off the table. Absolutely. If you just kind of see what we've done with MOTU and stuff, like we play around with colorways, we play around with alternate body types and all that kind of stuff. So it's not unheard of for us to do it.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that at Mondo, it's always been about the artists and the creators. And the awesome thing about where we stand right now as a collectibles company is that people are looking for that interpretation. When we talk to different studios and licensors, they go, can you guys do that, what you did with this property on this property? Yeah. And so what's starting to happen is that we are being sought out for our point of view. And as a collector myself, right, taking my Mondo hat off, not literally. But as a collector, I'm always looking at, my favorite characters or IP, and I want to see it pushed and stylized and interpreted different ways. But the awesome thing about this version is I do think we nailed what we set out to do, which is, what if we could see Lion-O in live action, right? What would that look like? And without having to sacrifice any of the fantastical elements of the character, right? So it's just kind of like wish fulfillment for us. You know, it says Mondo's Lion-O, but you know who works here, so that's whose vision of Lion-O it is. It's the people who work on it, the creators, you know, the concept artists, the sculptors, the painters, everybody coming together and jamming on something. So but like Hector said, you know, as healthy as the line is as far as it'll go, and that includes all kinds of variants.
Makes total sense. Awesome
Absolutely.
answer. So yeah, I gotta say, you know, I'm super excited with the choice that you guys made to launch the Thundercats. And rather than being like what you're doing with, for example, X-Men Animated, which is like 100% looks like it popped out of the TV screen, you guys are giving it that Mondo flair. And like Peter just said, it looks like what a feature film Thundercats movie would look like. That's what I would like to see in theaters. Like I would go day one, right? So absolutely amazing. I'm just wondering, we saw some amazing glam shots from Raul, and we just can't wait to get this in our hands. But any idea when we'll be seeing the packaging for Lion-O? And will the design vary by character? Kind of like what you guys did with Motu, where the baddies are in purple and the good guys are in green, resembling Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain. Are you guys planning on doing something like a Cat Slayer kind of flair on the goodies, and then the baddies will be like Mumra's tomb kind of feel?
I'm writing that down.
You're gonna take the idea.
I'm literally just messaging Jordan Christensen right now.
No, yeah, I mean, you know, we don't skimp out on the packaging, right? For us, like we've always treated it like it's its own piece of
Hashtag
art.
McCready.
Yeah, like McCready, for example, that's going shipping out to people, and even in Motu, right? Like even though like you're saying, it kind of has like a template, right? But the art's always swapping out, so you can expect the same thing for Thundercats from us.
Cool, awesome.
You know what? To go back to your other point too, about X-Men Animated and all that. You know, the funny thing is, I think Hector, we talked about this, that when that first Wolverine came out, the 1/6 scale in the box, there wasn't any collectibles literally based on the animated series, right? Like that.
Not at the
right?
time, no.
Right, at the time, yeah. Now there is, and so when you think about it, it's like Thundercats has had animated interpretations, you know. So it's also a thing that we are always thinking about when we look at the list of properties that we can work on. Is like, what hasn't been done. You know, what would be awesome? Like, what would make people go, oh, crap? You know, that's the biggest thing I could say to tie all the stuff we do together. We literally have the conversation that if we reveal this thing on the shelf at a certain convention, is somebody going to go by and go, that's cool? Or are they going to go, oh, you know, so we're always trying to get that moment and do something slightly unexpected, but very much satisfying to a hardcore fan. Just because it's fun.
Yeah. See, when you guys did this one, I was thinking like, oh my god, does that mean we're gonna get like Light Hope and the Crystal Castle? Like, what's gonna happen here? Is that a foreshadowing? Because on the other side is the actual playset for the Crystal Castle, right? So sometimes you're as fans, our minds kind of like wander, you know.
In
1/6.
And 1/6.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how many? Let's be honest. Come on, Peter, Hector.
I can see the thumbnail right now. Mega J, like, oh, Mondo, I hate you, but I love you. I can see it already. 6 Grayskull. Am I supposed to move into this? Guys, come on. Seriously.
Everybody asks me the same thing. Are they going to do a 1/6 castle? I'm like, are you guys crazy? That's insane.
No, it's huge. That would be giant, man. Like 4 feet, 5 feet tall.
We've discussed how big it would actually be if we did it. Put it that way.
Well, I mean, Raul Barrero, he showed his setup. I took a picture of him. Oh my God, this thing is massive. He's dwarfed by Snake Mountain.
He lives inside it. People don't know that. Yeah. Like he doesn't actually have his own house. That was part of the trade-off. So if you're ready to commit.
That was the deal. Yeah. Crazy. So this announcement has been an absolute dream for Thundercats. Can you give us a little bit of insight as to like was there any difficulties getting this project together? Because obviously, with licenses, a lot of times there's a lot of red tape that goes along with it, particularly if another company has a foothold on something, right? So were there any real hurdles you had to jump over in order to get this license?
No, I mean, to be honest, it was just a matter of, and this is, I think, a testament. A lot of people. Let me backtrack. So a lot of people know, when they heard about the news of Funko acquiring Mondo and all that stuff, they were like, "Oh, what does this mean?" And what I can tell you, one of the greatest parts about being a part of Funko is that their amazing licensing team is working with us, and so. Yes, it was very difficult before we were acquired by Funko, I guess is the answer, because it just wasn't something that we could negotiate in that way, right? And now that we're a part of Funko, you're seeing Mondo just acquire all these amazing licenses. These are our dream licenses that we've wanted this entire time. Like, I've been at Mondo for 6 years almost, right? Like in January, it'll be 6 years. So it's like, now having access to all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, at first it was hard. Yeah, for sure. Cause we've wanted to do Thundercats for quite some time, but thanks to, all the great folks over at Funko and their licensing team, like we were able to get this in, and it wasn't that big of a headache in that sense.
Yeah. It's actually amazing. When people, we read all the comments, and I know sometimes folks think that if something doesn't go right, that it's because of Funko or something. I'm like, if you guys only realize that if you're a fan of what we're doing here, they make it so that we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, so that we can just worry about how awesome he's going to look or how many accessories. And so it's amazing having that kind of power behind you with the negotiating table. I mean, think about it. Funko's huge. It's huge, and they're an army behind us, and they basically tell us, what do you guys want to do? Hey, we got this. You guys want to do it? Or you want that? Okay, cool. We'll go make it happen. And it's that simple. So luckily, this was one of them that they went to bat for us and got it for us. So it's awesome.
So they do the heavy lifting. You guys just create.
That's the goal, right? Over time is more and more of that, right? And it's because they trust us. They see what they're fans too, by the way. Like, they when the executives come by the Mondo booth, they're like, oh my God, they're like trying to get this and that and the other. So they really believe in it. They're really excited about it, and you can see the trajectory. Like, look at ever since they picked up Mondo. Look at where collectibles has gone. I mean, we don't have to say anything. Just look. And you can see it too in like the stuff that we've been previewing, right? Like stuff like the Ghostbusters, stuff like a lot of the even the Motu, 112,
an X112, and all that kind of stuff, right? It's all
those are hard things to accomplish if you're just a small company.
Yeah. TMNT, in a crowded space, so that is TMNT. We were able to get in there and put our own spin on things, right? So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, when you have the real adult conversations around this stuff, you realize that it makes a huge difference when you have that kind of team behind you.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. And it's like a huge library of products that you guys have now. Like you said, thanks to joining Funko.
Yeah, that solves a lot. That solves like that answers a heck of a lot of questions I actually had. So I don't have to ask anything. I'm done. I'm just kidding. But yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So guys, I wanted to ask, because I noticed a lot of chatter about this particular thing about Lionel. I love the figure myself, but I just have to bring it up. You guys probably heard about it. It's regarding the dagger version of the Sword of Omens. So a lot of people are saying, why is it so short and stubby? Is there any possibility that blade can be extended a bit, or is there no additional space in the claw shield to make this change?
It was I can speak just in terms of little behind the scenes here. We tried the longer blade for it to fit properly with the arm and the claw and all that stuff. We just had to make this concession. We had it originally a little longer, but it just wasn't fitting. It just wasn't, without making this portion of it like too bulky. it just didn't look right. So it was just a creative decision to make it a creative decision based on function, right? We wanted it to sit in there and not look strange and still look natural. And that's just, it had to be that short because it was just colliding with the forearm, and it was causing a host of problems that couldn't be adjusted at that point. So that's why it's small, like a little smaller than what I guess.
That's what I thought. It makes sense, but just wanted to address it because a lot of people were asking about that.
Yeah. You didn't want to ask about Snarf? That's the most controversial one.
Oh, that's
I'm sure it's in there.
You beat me to it. So basically,
go.
I'm gonna go for it. As early as the concept sketches, fans been wondering about the design for Snarf, and at Comic-Con when he was finally revealed, fans were a little bit critical about his overall design. Personally, I thought it was fine. Snarf is a fuzzy. He's a fuzzy little guy. I mean, like, what else is he supposed to look like, right? But fans have been vocal about the overall look. It seems a bit like leprechaunish, you know what I mean? Is there possibly in the future plans for maybe a slight redesign with perhaps a 2-pack of Snarf and Snarfer? I don't know if you can get into that detail, but maybe the design we can talk about at least.
Yeah, I think I like to compare it to Orko. Like there was a lot of people who were critical about us even daring to include legs, and unmasked Orko, how
why?
Why would you do it? Why? And it's like, because we could, like it was like there were reasons why it looked, and then obviously Orko came with the more classic versions of himself, right? For those who really wanted that like original cartoon look, right? Like we said with Lino, like that kind of stuff isn't off the table. It's just more like with this Lino, with the sculpted fur and those type of details, like we had to translate that onto Snarf. He, like you said, he's a furry little dude, right? Like, I mean, he's a little like cat with a weird lizard tail, like whatever, like Snarf has that, when we were thinking about it, we kind of just thought Jim Henson, like what if
Labyrinth.
this existed in Labyrinth or in one of those 80s fantasy movies, like what would he look like? And that's kind of how it just ended up looking, right? It feels very Jim Henson, very much like of that 80s era, and that's kind of what we were going for aesthetically. Now that doesn't mean like like we said, like if this line has legs and people support it, like Peter was saying, and we can get to a point where there could be a solo Snarf, like there's all sorts of things that we could do. And like with Motu, like these little buddy figures, right? Like that's what we call them. Like they're just like buddy figures. Like there's always room to add, like for Snarf to make another appearance with another character and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily like the end all be all of all Snarfs that we're going to do. It's just the first one out the gate. That's all.
Yeah. I think, again, when we talked about what would Thundercats look like in live action, it's exactly what Hector said, is like, imagine in the 80s, this thing gets, assigned to Jim Henson. I wish we could have seen that. And it comes out adjacent to Dark Crystal, Labyrinth with that vibe, Legend, and there is an edge to those films, even though they were like family kids movies, there's an edge to them. And I think it's cool to see someone like Snarf in that world. He always gave me like Gwildor vibes and like, that kind of energy. So there's a little bit of that, like kind of, it's cute, but at the same time, it's like a little bit, what is this type of thing? So yeah, to me, it lines up perfectly. The funny thing is, and I will give critics a point on this one, is when we had them on display at Comic-Con, the pedestal we had was lit from so on the surface, so it would light up everything from below. And so just like if you're at a campfire or telling a scary story and you have a flashlight up to your face and it lights you from below, makes you look weird. He looked a little different in those shots. So I would just say judge him by Raul's shots. And if you like them, then you're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. One of a couple of comments that keep coming up is like, it's Demon Snarf, and I'm like, guys, come on. The lights coming up from his face. It's like the darkness in his eyes.
I think, as like Hector said, when people get this thing in hand, when people get this set in hands, because it really is a set, You know, packing in Snarf. Snarf's a main character, you know, but it's just cool to pack him in with Lino. When people get this set and they see the whole thing all together, I think all that goes away, frankly.
I agree. I think he looks awesome. I personally have no problems with him. Same thing. I feel like it channels Jim Henson. Like if this was done in a live action movie in the 80s, absolutely. And a really cool thing is that it's not just one of those typical buddies that's static. He actually articulates at the legs, articulates at the arms, and has a ball socket head, which is really, really awesome because it could have just been a swivel, but you guys put a ball socket on it. So it gives it a lot more life and a lot more personality for different type of pose options. So
and if you thought Orko with no mask was cool, wait till you see shaved Snarf variant. It's just like an all shaved face. You'll see what he really looks like. Then you'll pray for this Snarf.
Oh my god, I can't wait. I can't wait. Guys, it's been a wonderful time spending a little bit of time with you guys. Jorge, JP, do you have any last questions before we
I'm just, you know, like Hector elaborated, it really depends on how much legs this thing has, and I anticipate that this will do amazing, because I think the best thing is having this kind of love towards this IP that it's always been near and dear to me, and having it, you know, being taken to another level, right? Because like Peter said, Mondo's trying to do things that other people aren't. And, you know, that's how you kind of get people's attention when you kind of paint things in a different light, right? So having this kind of Mondo-esque type of lino and looking forward to, I mean, I just can't stop thinking of what Mondo iterations, right, of these figures will look like for like Monkey and Slide and
Slide for sure. Yeah, I'm excited.
Anthro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Panthro, Chitara. You know, it's just it's those kind of things where it's like, wow, I can't wait to see these things on my shelf. And I know that true Thundercats fans are really going to be like, you know, let's go. One thing that I do is I always let people know of their options because sometimes they can't dip into the wallet right away.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there's Klarna, there's Affirm, there's Afterpay. There's a will, there's a way. If you want this thing, get it. Especially these timed editions, man. You see what they go for on the aftermarket. And even though this might not be the only Lino that comes out, I think it's like the statement piece entry to this awesome line. So don't sleep on this, guys. You know,
I'll tell you what, just to like back you up there a little bit. When people see Mumra, the price of the aftermarket on Lino will probably go up a little bit. I'm just saying. There's not going to be any fence sitters on Mumra.
Hector, you said it was 15 inches tall.
Yeah. Well, it'll be pretty big. Probably 14 inches around there.
You know, I mean, like kind of like Beastman type of body.
Yeah, he'll be as tall, if not taller than Beastman. Probably taller than Beastman. He has to be taller than Beastman. Yeah, because Lino's 12 exactly at like the top of his forehead, like not counting his mane. So yeah, I think Mumra is at the very least 1.5 inches taller, if not 2.
And Mumra standing up straight where Beastman's hunched over.
Yeah, Beastman's a little more hunched, so it's like Mumra, definitely 14 inches at the least.
He dunks no problem.
Is he slated for like a pre-order this year, Mumra?
We're working on it, so we'll announce when it's exactly going to go up. But yeah, we're in the middle of just like getting this thing ready to go.
Awesome. Yeah, we can't wait to see like renders and more updates.
With Mumra, it's like I'm not even gonna bother with any sort of renders, even though the renders for the sculpt, which is done, looks beautiful. He's gonna come with so much fabric. Like what I can say, like his cape, his tassels, the wraps, his skirt, all of that's going to be fabric. So it's like any render I don't think will do it justice. So we'll probably just wait until we have like a good prototype to show off with everybody. But yeah, I can't wait for people to see it. It's really good, and I think it's more if I would say between Lino and Mumra, which one's more true to like the show, right? I feel Mumra feels the closest, where it's like it's just Mumra's already perfect. Like there was like hard to really translate it too much more, other than adding like some detail, right? Like obviously we don't want, we want it to feel like it lives in the same world, but I think both of them, like Mumra, like definitely feels the closest to the show. And we have some great accessories in there that are like throwbacks to the show for sure.
Yeah. I saw the concept.
That's a good exclusive. You can clip that whole thing out.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
What's his I'm slipping my head right now. I'm slipping my mind right now. Mumra, where at the end of at the very end where he like turns super Mumra. Is that what it is?
Oh, Mumra the all powerful.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. We have references to that in it, with a couple of the heads awesome. that are referencing that version.
Yeah, that's awesome because that can live next to the Super 7 ones, and be like, oh, this is the ultimate Mumra.
Oh yeah, because he's about that scale. If you scale him up to the Super 7 when he turns all powerful, like he grows, right? So he would scale up with the Super 7 line.
So it's like those fence sitters that don't do 1/6. For sure.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're counting down the days. Like I know, for this to actually be delivered. I know Lionel's coming out January next year, correct?
Yeah, that's where I think it's slated to ship.
Awesome. And pre-orders end this Friday, folks. So jump on there and secure that thing before it's gone.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Don't forget that this ends on August 23rd, 2024 at 11:59 a.m. Central Time. So don't sleep on this one, guys. This one is freaking crazy. Of course, it's $250 US, but as Jorge JP mentioned earlier, you can do 4 interest-free payments with multiple different options: Shop Pay, Klarna, multiple different avenues to get your Thundercats on. This one is a great opportunity. I want to thank our good friends Hector, Arce, and Attack Peter. Guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon. This has just been an absolute pleasure. Do you have any other maybe small hints that you can give us? Is Mom Mutt going to be included with Mumra? Like something else we can tell?
Oh yeah, he's included.
Oh.
2 heads.
2 heads. Yeah.
Oh, that is sweet. I can't wait. Guys, thank you again, Peter, Hector. Any last words for our guests before we log off?
No, just thank you guys so much, and thank you for all the great coverage you give all the time, and we appreciate even the constructive criticism. So thank you in general.
Absolutely, yeah. We're always, we value all our fans, and without all of you, none of this is possible for us. Like we're working and doing these amazing things, and the response that we get from all of you has always been amazing. So we hear you. We try to listen when we can. We try to make folks happy as much as possible, because we know that just like these things are near and dear to our hearts, it's near and dear to fans' hearts as well, right? So so thank you guys, and thank you both, Mega J and JP.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us, and make sure to lock in those orders, people. You only got 2 days left, so
thank you.
Don't sleep on it.
Guys.
Take it easy.
Thundercats, ho, everybody.
Thundercats, ho.
Oh.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Nice.